The next presentation we have is Digital Transformation. What's next for telcos? So could you please put your hands together and welcome Gary Heffernan to the stage. He is the Senior Managing Director of Accenture's Communication, Media and Technology in EALA.
Good morning, everybody, and I'm afraid we're going from our Arabic poetry to a Scottish accent. So I hope you're all familiar with Scotland. I was actually asking my 6 children before I started. By the way, I plan to have 5 children, but my wife goes over budget on everything. But I was asking my 6 kids, I'm about to talk about digital transformation and the role of the telco. And I asked the children, who do you think your telco provider is? And 4 of the 6 answered Google or Facebook. So I think the telcos have got a bit to do in terms of positioning around digital transformation. And as I said in the introduction, I have the privilege of traveling the world. I run TMT across the world, everywhere except the US. And I believe that the Middle East and Dubai has a unique opportunity to become the digital benchmark of the world. And I've been inspired even this morning. I mean, the level of collaboration between government and the private sector here is a true differentiator. The way that this society is creating the environment for investment, which is a big problem around the world, creating an environment for startups, creating the environment for people, in attracting the best people to this region. And of course, you don't have the legacy that so many other operators around the world have. So I think you have a true opportunity in this part of the world to be an alternative to the Silicon Valley. And certainly as a non-American, I would embrace and welcome that. Now, in terms of what's next for telcos, we could spend hours talking about this. But as I talk to CEOs around the world, they're all struggling with this disruption that the last speaker talked about. What do I do with all this disruptive technology? What do I do, or how fast do I move when it comes to 5G or SDN or some of these other investments without completely compromising my current business? What do I do with the new customer experience expectations that the likes of Google and Facebook and many other disruptors are driving? I mean, a lot of these CEOs are finding themselves justifying themselves to the press, to their parliaments, to their consumers, to their business customers, because they're really not stepping up to the mark in achieving the customer experience journey. What do they do, as the last speaker talked about orchestrating these new ecosystems, about creating B2B 2.0? And what do they do about transforming a historic engineering culture where the infrastructure and the network was the only competitive differentiator? What do they do now about creating the digital DNA that's going to determine winners from losers over the next decade? And as our previous speaker said, that's really all about the people. So a lot of these CEOs are really struggling, and they're looking for partners to help them manage this migration journey from the engineering world to the new world and all the dimensions that it creates. And of course, we all know it starts with the technology. And you see this chart, and Accenture loves to have complex charts. But the basic message here is every one of these technology interventions in their own right can have a dramatic impact on our industry and on our business. But you take the combination of these technology interventions, and it really is a true game changer. And I believe one of the biggest challenges that we've got in the telco industry, when you go to the Silicon Valley, when you go to the United States of America, the DNA is about embracing this change, is about embracing this technology innovation. And if things work, they scale. And if things don't work, they throw it away and they move on to the next initiative. Right? And I think we've got a real challenge certainly in Europe and Latin America, but probably around the world, in embracing this technology and seizing it as an opportunity, not as a challenge, not as an inhibitor. And I use the term with all of my telco clients that if you want to be a winner in the digital age, if you want to lead the digital transformation, if you want to be seen as a go digital player, you've got to be digital. You've got to be digital yourself. And actually embracing this technology revolution is almost anti the DNA of many of the telecoms players in the world. And until they start embracing be digital, I think they're going to struggle. And I think the good news is there's now plenty of examples where we actually see telcos embracing a combination of analytics and cloud and robotics and automation and artificial intelligence. And they are beginning to see exponential benefits, exponential structural changes in their business, which is going to be critical for the future. So we heard a lot about collaboration. There's no doubt that with the disruption and the change that's going on around the industry, consumers have a different expectation of telcos. And I believe the proliferation and the explosion of devices, the explosion of consumption, the explosion of experiences creates a massive business upside for the telcos. But only if they start to scale capability that's going to change the game on this customer experience challenge. Right, we have this old metric, and you know, from what I've seen this morning, this part of the world has more sophisticated metrics than the old world. But we have this old metric called NPS, which is, you know, a surrogate for what your customers think of you. You look at the telco industry in Europe and Latin America, the average NPS is minus 5% and declining. The best operator in the whole of Europe and Latin America is Swisscom, which has an NPS of plus 15. Right, Netflix are plus 40. Uber are plus 50. Your iconic airline here in UAE, Emirates, I think last time I looked, is plus 70. Right, so CEOs have got a massive, massive challenge in translating all this nice thinking about how the telco industry is embracing next generation customer experience versus reality on the ground. And in our experience, it's an end-to-end challenge for every telco. Right, we are still very silo-driven as an industry. Back a little to the vertical horizontal analogy of our last speaker. And fixing this starts from the heart of the customer, as we all know, starts from deep knowledge about what's really going on in the customer mindset, starts from the network, which in many cases around the world is still nowhere near serving, either in terms of coverage or quality, the expectation of the customers. And it goes right through customer operations, infrastructure, all the way through to the enterprise back office. So I believe this whole behavior, this whole need to inject a new DNA, a digital capability in your organization and change the relationship with your customer is absolutely critical as we think about the next gen telco. I think the last speaker also talked about the opportunity in what I call B2B 2.0. I mean, there's no doubt that most industries are crying out for innovation. In Accenture itself, the TMT sector is a P&L account sector in its own right, but it's also what we call a platform for the other four industries in our company. Because most of the game-changing technology, the innovation, is coming from this room and this sector. But if we're really going to seize the B2B 2.0 opportunity, whether that's in SME or whether it's in large corporates, we need more of the thinking that I heard around this room this morning already. Collaboration with governments, creating the right investment climate, and as our previous speaker says, getting much, much more proactive in orchestrating the ecosystem, whether that's startups, whether that's new innovators, or whether it's even reinforcing collaboration with a GAFA. Like, are they going to be friends or are they going to be foes of the telcos? And as you know, we face the enterprise sector as a company. There's no one player in the industry that brings all the capability. So moving from the historical telco DNA, engineering-centric DNA of do everything yourself, this ability to actually, by design, structure real partnership, real ecosystems that can bring real value propositions, disruptive in nature, but deliverable to the B2B sector, in our view, is going to be critical, and we've a long, long way to go. Our previous speaker talked about OTT to TTO. There actually are some incredible examples around the globe of telecom operators that are embracing this TTO concept, that do have digital hubs, that embed all their capability, that have platforms that create all the players in the ecosystems, create the environment for new startups joining their platforms, and giving them the ability to serve companies around the globe without having people in every country. So I truly believe this term TTO, which we call Digital Hub, is a winner and a game changer. We heard earlier about industries blurring, and I think that is right. But I think as industries blur, whether it's in IoT, whether it's telcos, as many of the European telcos believe now, that they're going to be in the banking business. Right, so you look at companies like Safari or Orange or Telenor, you know, their second business stream after telecom services is mobile banking. And they have great aspirations to reverse innovate what they're doing in Africa to other parts of the world. So I think with what's happening with TTO and OTT, for sure industries are blurring, but I think the telcos need to be very, very thoughtful in what areas they're going to play, and making sure they got the vertical capabilities, the security capabilities, the aggregator capabilities to be successful in whatever bets they choose. And our view is you have to be narrow and deep in terms of being a winner as these industries blur. So just to finish off, because I do want to keep to time. So I think this industry, this place is an inspiration. I truly believe that you know, a lot of the vision here, the ways of working here, the ability to attract people, to attract talent here, can be a poster child for the rest of the world. I mean, what telecoms need right now is not administrators, it's not managers, it needs leaders. It needs leaders that are going to have a vision on where they're trying to get to, that have got the courage to set out where they are in the journey today, have got the courage to try new things, and where they work, scale, and where they don't, fail fast. And it's got the courage to go out there and really transform their capability. Because I think the capability of the last 20 to 30 years is not going to be enough to transform any telecoms operator to a digital visionary. And actually making the right acquisitions, making the right investments in training and capability, creating the right environment investing in investment is going to be absolutely critical. And I truly believe that less than 20% of today's telcos around Europe, Africa, Latin America, even the Middle East, 20% will get there and the rest will fail. And the key metric, the key driver between success and failure will be talent and the ability to nurture talent, keep talent, unleash talent, even if it means challenging all the fundamental assumptions in your historical organization. So I think we're going to drive down on this topic in some of the debates. We could talk for hours about it, but those are just some of the summary themes that we can articulate in 14 minutes and 30 seconds. So thank you.